My name is Sylvia Guinan and I'm an English teacher who works online. I'm originally from Ireland and I have been teaching for almost 20 years, mostly in Greece, but I've also worked in some schools in Ireland. Now I live with my Greek husband and 4 bilingual children in Greece, and I like working online as it gives me the chance to work from home and run my family at the same time. We also have a lovely lifestyle here, and all of that is made possible because of my online work. I teach students from all over the world. I have groups in Athens who I teach every night. I teach on Skype and the platform WithIQ, and I also write, create my own materials, blog, and work with multimedia. Here's a typical work day in my life. I get up at 7 a.m. and prepare my children for school. Then I take a walk along the seashore for about 45 minutes before going home to start working online. So in the morning I teach, or I write and blog, or I create new course materials. At the moment I'm also organising my groups onto my learning management system so that I can track my students, keep everything organised in one place where we share assignments, homework and multimedia. And also because in future I'm hoping to develop writing courses which are asynchronous, which means I don't have to teach everything from the classroom, that we also use our platform for writing, except not always in real time. I work until lunchtime and then my children come home from school. I set aside 3 hours every day to teach my children, so we can have English lessons or tell stories, play games, or do anything that will help to develop their bilingual fluency. Sometimes I have evening lessons, and I always have lessons at night time after 10 p.m. when my children are asleep. Most of my groups are professionals who come from Athens, so they work all day and we've got to schedule our classes for night time. One of my biggest challenges in working online is finding the right time zone to fit in with my family's needs. So I'm hoping that I can perhaps move into the Japanese market or any time zones that will fill those requirements. The internet has completely changed the way I work. When I first started teaching, all we had was a tape recorder and a blackboard. Now, since I started working online, I have access to publishing tools and multimedia, and this enables me as a teacher to become more inspired and more creative, to give my students exactly what they want and when they need, without trying to search for books and resources and buying more and more and more books. Actually, I have an office with bookshelves full of hundreds of books I've been using over the years, and now they're all completely out of date. But of course, with the experience I have built up from so many years teaching, now I am regenerating all of that knowledge in my own personal way, by writing my own content, by creating my own presentations, just writing. I see my future not just in teaching large groups or organising writing programs. I see it largely in writing ebooks and educational content, and moving into more creative writing for myself and to enable my students to do the same thing. That's the teacher's perspective. From a student point of view, if you've got a teacher who has done proper research on the internet, who uses the right number of tools without playing around too much, and who is able to share exactly what's important with students without overwhelming them with too much multimedia, then students can become more creative in their own language learning and become more autonomous and more independent. Today students can do their own blogging and their own publishing, their own real life writing or emailing, their own podcasting. They can record their own voices. They can use interactive multimedia to completely expand on the experience of 1 hour in the classroom with a teacher. One example of that is English Addicts, a newspaper, well, a news website where students can listen to podcasts, do interactive exercises while reading about world events. There are other TV sites like English Central where you can speak with movies and check pronunciation. There is so much out there, some of it ready-made and some for us to create. Teachers and students to create together. I mean, that's the content aspect. Otherwise, working online has put me in contact with professionals from around the world, and we have built a personal learning network where we all share, support each other and learn from each other. Some of us write together, some of us teach together, some of us share content, collaborate. It's just something unique that never existed in the offline world. And lastly, my whole point in going online was to be able to spend time with my children and my family without leaving the house, without becoming some kind of manic career person who has to juggle and lose the whole point of what's going on. So I have tried to do this with my house, with my work, online with the internet, so I can work from home, work with my children and have everything organised and working well. When I think of educational challenges or the future of education, I see it from a holistic perspective, not only from the point of independent teachers and how we will pursue our careers or education online. I'm looking at how globalization and the internet is impacting and should impact education in the future. I see schools all over Europe and around the world, state schools, primary and secondary schools, that either have amazing technology at their fingertips and language labs, but they don't know how to use them, and they're left unused, and students are still learning in old-fashioned ways with old-fashioned methodologies. Then we have schools in poorer areas, poorer countries that lack the technology, but they have educators who are willing to try and bring education forward. What I see is, on the one hand, some entrepreneurs or online professionals who are on the cutting edge experimenting and trying out new technologies, and on the other hand we've got state systems and teachers who have to follow bureaucracy, and they're not given the freedom to embrace technology as independent teachers are. I would like to see this coming together in the future in blended learning frameworks, and I could see how edupreneurs and independent online teachers can help institutions to implement programs to bring teachers from the internet into classrooms where native English speakers or speakers of other language do not exist, and where students have absolutely no opportunities to speak. I also see situations where those of us experimenting, learning and implementing everything independently can train teachers from various schools to implement similar programs in their classes with their students in a kind of collaboration. There is so much that can happen with the best of both worlds. That's why I think blended learning is the future for our children and education.